Hi, I'm Si, I'm the founder and owner of Cotic Bikes. ...2018 marks 15 years for the brand. I do remember having the Monday morning meeting with everyone about 18 months ago, and there's 7 of us standing around and we're having ideas and we're catching up on the weekend. I'm thinking, this is great. You know, I built this. Around 2001 I was trail riding again after I'd been downhill racing for a while.
Dude, I was like literally a toddler then.
He joined us in cross country in the Peak District and realised that at that point they were seriously lacking.
I'd put some longer forks and a disc brake and a shorter stem on my hardtail, but because they weren't designed for it, it wasn't quite right. I sat down and measured it up and decided to design something that would work properly, and I was just going to get one made. I was going to get Dave Yates, the custom builder, to build it for me, and that would have been that. But then through the SINGLETRACK forum, I think, a friend of a friend introduced me to Brant Richards, and he said he designing a frame, and so I sent him a drawing and he thought it was pretty good. Well, good enough to offer to get me a price on 100 of them, which was never really the plan. I was 25, I was working at an engineering consultancy for railway vehicles. I was living in Nottingham with my wife, pretty much no commitments in terms of mortgages or children or anything like that. So when the opportunity came up, I didn't have to give up my job, I didn't have to put anything on the line particularly, and even if we only sold 3 I could still just about afford to pay the loan back. So it was almost a no-brainer. It was just like it would be more fun to do it than not do it, so we did it.
I mean, he's testing an old man's memory now. And so then the Soul came along.
I've followed the Soul development all the way through, right up to the long shot geometry. This is the yardstick, isn't it? This is the one. This is my 4th Soul frame. The first 3 they didn't survive the involuntary destruction testing. The long shot geometry was probably the hardest one to test. The scars from crashing that frame are just about healing.
My friend KELVIN, who still does the website to this day, did me a website, and my other friend Niall designed me some stickers. We could sell a few bike frames and it would just be a kind of cool thing to do as a bit of a side project. We got that first batch of 100 frames in June 2003. We had some good write-ups sending the prototypes to the magazine, so we had some orders, which was awesome. They all turned up bright pink, the notorious pink frame story, and we were in business.
Fearless. Alright. Behave yourself.
There we go.
This was our Steel as Real bike test from 2003. We had this new upstart brand, Cotic. The bike is turned to take a huge 4 to 5 inch fork without upsetting the geometry. It was pretty different for the time. We want these bikes that don't dissolve if you ride them every day in the winter. To us it made sense. The Soul was great for just riding around. It didn't need to be a cross-country race bike.
Kate Potter taking one of my bikes to the World Championships, that was something I never thought would happen, because I don't really build the bikes as race bikes particularly, but she raced her Soda and she was selected for the Australian squad for the Canberra Worlds in 2009. So yeah, we've got a picture of someone riding a Cotic at the World Championships. So that was a real moment.
I first heard about Cotic when I was only young, I think I was 12 or something, and yeah, I needed a new bike and I really wanted a hardtail. So I think I was looking through SINGLETRACK magazine in the UK, I can't remember what it was, and I just saw like the beefy and blue, the old one. I was like, mate, I need that in my life.
We did a full suspension bike, the Hemlock, in 2007 to 2011.
It's really old.
Which was a 4-bar design, but it wasn't very Cotic. It was an aluminium bike. It had a very different look through that 2-year period where we developed the first rocket. That was when we really figured out what a Cotic is and what makes it look like a Cotic and what makes it ride like a Cotic. Really important for the company, because it felt like after a few years of almost letting it happen, we actually figured out what it was we were doing.
By 2009 we'd grown enough to need some premises and we moved down to Carver Works, and we've been here ever since.
So we spent 2 years looking at all of these different options and we came up with DropLink. So I was really happy with the performance of it, and I'm still happy with the performance on it. You know, 6 years later, DropLink still works brilliantly, and although it's evolved over that time, it's still fundamentally the same system with the same advantages that I designed into it, you know, back then. It was a real important step forward for us. It showed us that we were at our best when we were pushing things and we were doing things that we were really excited about, and that's what the Rocket was. I was and still am excited about that bike.
Before we even named the soul, he wanted a team and he wanted to be called the Cotic Rocket. What? Cotic Rocket? I can't say the Cotic Rockets because it's so easy to say.
When the Rocket came out, we decided, you know, with Enduro happening, it was the first season of UK Gravity Enduro, we thought, well, we've got the perfect bike for it, so let's start a team. So we put the word out to the Sheffield locals, and we got CHAY on board and we got Loose Dog.
CHAY or CHAY, how do you say CHAY? Everyone always laughs when I say it.
It's CHAY actually.
That was my first year doing Enduros, so it was cool to have like support for that. And it definitely helped me like learn what I needed to do for Enduros.
Taught him all he knows. He'd be nowhere without me.
Yeah, good fun, just yeah, Sheffield vibes.
Said he'd sponsor me, and he turned up with a bike on the Wednesday before I went to South Wales on the Friday. So I got a full 48 hours to put the bike together because it was a frame, forks, rims, tyres, and took it to Wales and got on it. It was ace, but I went about 20 foot down the first track and went over the handlebars straight into a bog, and I was laid on my face in this bog thinking, oh, that's not started well. But it was sick after that. It was good, got me iron. Enjoyed it.
Became pretty well known for our videos. We worked with Joe Bowman from Steel City Media fame. We gave him his first job doing the little X video that Swinny did.
I love doing the videos, and it's where it all began for me.
So when the Rocket was coming out, we thought, well, let's do another promo video. And me and Joe, we went to a cafe and drank far too much coffee and decided that Superheroes was going to be the one. That was it, and the next thing I knew, there was shots of Swinny on one of the Rockets in a flowing cape. I know Edna says no capes, but we were a big fan of them. It worked pretty well for us. The only day I've worn a suit to work at Cotic is to go to a fake funeral for a real size.
Oh shit. sorry.
That was funny. We had a big fake funeral in Jobo's parents' garden. Loads of people turned out for that, all suited up, and then buried some bike parts, came back to life. Just had a couple of days crashing the beef. I got in the woods and there was this like little plank of wood that's been set up by his kids as a little kicker, like this little downside, and then there's like a bit more of a landing, a long way away, too far away really, and he decided I was going to gap it all. We came in fast and the little lip just bucked me and I landed real nose heavy, blew my hands off the bars and went over. Big roly-poly. That was a good start.
Fuck me, that was fast.
You know, we've got the brand ambassadors out there producing amazing content for us and going on adventures.
Come on, get in the direct, sit down. About a year ago, Cotic approached me to be an ambassador. It was just in time for me to go away on a road trip with BMW. It's absolutely amazing, so I took my Rocket out to the Swiss Alps and got its first ride out there, so that's pretty cool. I don't race and there's no pressure for me to race, but also I'm really lucky because I've got access to the whole demo fleet, so if I go on like a bike packing mission, I've taken the Escapade, I took the Soul, just gone at the weekend to Scotland, so yeah, it's amazing. My bike is awesome.
You know, although ultimately wasn't successful, a standout moment was the BML project we started. You know, we tried for quite a long time to try and make stuff in the UK. It was something I believed in, still believe in. Didn't work out that time, but it was an important part of what we are as a brand and what we continue to try to do.
So 5 years later, we're working with Fiveland Bikes up in Scotland, and we are actually making some items in the UK. We're making front ends for Rocket Maxes and Flares, and it's all out of everything we learned back then and everything we've learned since, and that's a great thing to be able to say.
We getting the long shot prototype, because that was one of those very rare oh my goodness moments. The guys up at Shand made the longest front triangle we possibly could out of Reynolds tubing for a rocket, and I remember the first ride on that bike being proper revelation, like this really could be the future. Robbie raced the Mega on his Beefy. CHAY and Swinny have been racing their rockets on the World Enduro. Well, getting the van for Sam, that was our first company vehicle. There's all of these watershed moments. Fast forward to 2018, now we have 2 premises, 7 permanent staff, we've got 8 team riders and ambassadors, we ship frames all over the world, we've got 10 bikes in the range, we're doing bikes, I was only doing frames when we first started. Yeah, big change. What was it? Beefy, Beefy 26, Solaris, Soul, 4 drop link bikes, Road Rat, Escapade, yeah, 10. You know, this is my main bike at the moment, and it works brilliantly for riding around Sheffield and riding around in the Peak District. If I lived somewhere not quite so rocky, I'd probably have a Flare Max. I've got a Solaris in the garage. I've got a Road Rat that I go to the shops on. I'm excited about all of our bikes. That's the reason why we put so much effort into them, because we want them to be brilliant for us, and if they're brilliant for us, they're probably brilliant for you.
So the job is great. You know, I get to ride bikes all over the UK for a living, but the best part about it is doing it for such a good bunch of people.
I've been working here at Cotic for about a year and a half. I've had to learn a crazy amount about mountain biking, but it's been a fun journey. So early on I won an entry to Ardrock. I'd never done a mountain bike race before, so it was a huge deal for me to give it a go and see how I did, and CHAY, the team rider, kind of took me round and showed me the ropes. I wouldn't have survived it without him, I don't think. I really enjoyed it, and I'd highly recommend it to other women that are feeling a bit unsure. It's well worth having a go.
Some of my highlights have been producing Sheffield's first ever piste map for cycling, and we got posters made up of that and can give them out and promote Sheffield, where we love and live and ride. It's nice to give something back to the city because we love it so much, and it's provided the testing ground for all of our bikes.
Hi, I'm Will from Cotic. You might remember me from the beer mats and the backdrop to the gazebo. Had a few highlights. House sheet drill, which is really good fun. Awesome that we could do that in the middle of town and have the full Cotic team there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool having my little brother as my mechanic as well.
He's my brother, I'm not his.
So I've even worked for a brewery, and this is still the best job in the world.
All these ambassadors that can't even talk in front of a camera. Where's Will Easy when you need him? Will Easy, it's so good.
This is a bit cringy, but ever since I have sort of found Cotic, it's just a bit more. I'm more happy to ride my bike. I don't have any more stress sort of going into races and stuff, because I know I've got a good bunch of people behind me. Like this knobhead here.
That was offensive.
Cheers, Si.
Yeah, it's cool. Very cool. Local brand's always cool.
His passion and excitement about how we ride his bikes is brilliant.
The amount of tech chat and geekery that goes on is ridiculous, but when I can correct them, that's the best part.
Yeah, it's crazy to think we've been doing this for 15 years, but I love where we've got, and I love the people we're involved with and the people who are involved with it. I'm excited for the next 15 years and beyond.
It's fantastic just to work with people that just enjoy doing what they do.
I just see it as now starting to accelerate. The bit it's grown in the last 5 years that I've known it is amazing, but it feels now it's just taking off, and even in the next 5 years it's going to be mad. So 15 years, I think I'll have a Ferrari.
Not Cotic, Cotic.
The other end of the line, somebody's going to open that box, and that's their brand new... Uncle!
I went away with their athletes, Hannah Barnes and Martin Stradason. No. Is it not Soda Strong? Soda Strong. Tongue twister.
Excuse me, do you have any grateful pop?
Bloody people enjoying themselves. Friday, go to work. What's wrong with you all? Nightmare.